VTR 3410, The Witches, Episode 8, Part 1, Take 1.
In the middle of the 19th century, superstition was still rife in England. Ignorance and a fear of the unknown were the deadly enemies of reason and common sense, and the area about Flaxton Hall was no exception. Even as late as the 1850s, men and women tended to blame anything that went amiss in their community on the forces of evil.
I distinctly heard some shouting.
Oh, it's probably just some trouble down at village alehouse.
No, it didn't come from that direction.
It's not important, is it? Come back to the book. We're just getting to the interesting part where Merlin the wizard was going to cast this horrible spell over Mordred.
I wish I knew what it was. It was an angry sort of sound.
It's supper time, you two. And I don't want any mess as you eat this.
Supper already?
Good, I'm starving.
Did you hear the shouting, Flora?
What shouting?
Out there. Seemed to come from Calliston village way.
I've only heard the thunder. There's a storm brewing, or so Nathan would have it.
It wasn't thunder, it was shouting, I'm certain of that. Like a big angry crowd far away.
It's not important, though, is it? Let's get back to the book. I want to hear more about Merlin the wizard. Is it possible to cast a good spell, Flora? Can witches and wizards do?
Wizards and witches. Why you lads should be stuffing your heads with such evil rubbish, I do not know. Some nice gospel stories are what you ought to be reading. Nice and uplifting they are.
It was shouting.
And I want no dallying over your suppers. Do you hear, Master Jonathan? As soon as you've finished, it's up to bed with the two of you. Wizards and witches and hobgoblins and the like.
White magic.
Eh?
That's what they call the casting of good spells.
Oh.
When a bad wizard or witch casts an evil spell, that's what they call black magic. There's somebody in here.
Who is it?
I don't know.
clothes. They look like
Witches.
Witches? Have you brought them to us then?
Who, ma'am?
Them? Oh, no, I see you are alone. Oh, praise be. You live here?
Yes, I'm the master of Flaxton Hall.
Master, is it? Oh, master, eh? Oh, then we are trespassers on your property, are we not?
Well, I suppose so.
My apologies, young sir. You only sought for shelter from the night, nothing more. Just shelter, me and my daughter here. Best be on our way then, eh? We are tired, young sirs. My daughter, could she speak, would say the same thing, eh, girl? You look kindly, young gentleman. Might we beg a morsel of food from you? Just enough to keep flesh and bones together?
Well,
might be best if we do as she bids us, Jonathan.
I'll see what I can find.
100 blessings on you, young sir. And 1,000 curses on your head if you tell a living soul that we are here.
And with all respects, ma'am, we treat this as a serious business. Serious and evil.
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Gillis. A serious business. But I feel that the only evil is that to be found in your own purpose. May I remind you, sir, that we are living in the 19th century and not in the Middle Ages.
Yet stranger things have happened.
Gillis, you're well known to be a superstitious old fool.
And I tell you that this is not superstition. These are facts, Nathan, bare facts. The danger is near us now. I can feel it, close by. Now, ma'am, if you'll only give me leave to furnish you with facts, then I'm sure you'll give us permission to search the grounds of Flaxton Hall.
We don't want you and your clodhoppers traipsing all over the estate, Gillis.
I will listen to what you have to say, Mr. Gillis, but I will promise you nothing. Is that understood?
Well, thank you, ma'am.
So, if you have time to waste, sir, you may proceed.
Well, the matter is proven to the satisfaction of us all that these women are witches. Now, they came to our village barely 2 months ago, and despite their humble appearance, they bought a cottage close to my east meadow, and they paid for it in cash. Golden sovereigns, ma'am.
Well, there's naught evil in that. It shows they're thrifty, that's all.
Now, the older woman is called Messina. Now, grant me, that's an ungodly name for a respectable person.
I once had an aunt called Ermintrude. I think Messina has a more pleasing sound.
All right, ma'am, but these things should be taken into consideration. The women have never once attended church.
Well, perhaps they belong to a different denomination.
They always wear black, and they earn their living by selling walk cures and hazel brooms.
That's so.
Well, any fool knows that witches ride about at dead of night on broomsticks. Yeah, there's worse to come, ma'am. Much worse.
Yes, Mr. Gillis.
Now, the younger one, the one they call Mary, has never been heard to utter a single solitary word. Now, the village folk, they talk to her, but she never answers them.
Can you blame her?
Now, a few weeks back, she was seen to stumble and fall hard against a wall. The blow would have brought a cry from anyone's lips, but she never made a sound. Now, the old woman, she owns a long, tall, black witch's cap. It's been seen in the corner of her kitchen.
Of what consequence is that? Really, Mr. Gillis, you will have to do better than this.
But I can, ma'am, I can. Now, late one night, the constable had cause to call on these women. It was at a time when all good Christian folks should have been at home and close by their own fireside. He knocked at the door. He got no answer. The door was ajar, so we looked inside. The women had disappeared, both of them. And in their stead, beside the hearth sat two jet black cats.
This is still not proof, sir.
Ah, but I haven't finished yet, ma'am. I've saved the worst till the last. Now, some days ago, these women came to my farm, hawking their wretched broomsticks. The older one was insistent that my missus should buy from them. Well, I ordered them from the door, but first they refused to budge, until I fetched the old hag a cut with the riding crop. They moved fast enough then, but before they went away, the old woman called out curses on my head. She said evil would befall me for my lack of charity.
Ah, serve you right if we did, too. You're a bold lad, aren't you? Attacking a defenceless woman.
There's no defenceless about them.
And evil has befallen you?
Aye, ma'am. The very next day. Now, you'll recall that there's a wide stream running through our village. It waters my pastures and that of the neighbouring farms. Well, ma'am, it has dried up. For the first time in living memory, there isn't a trickle in it. The cattle stand parched and dying of thirst. We begged the old woman to lift her curse. She did naught but laugh at us.
Jonathan. Yes. What are we going to do? I don't know. We'll have to take them food.
Seems so.
And not tell anyone of the whereabouts. No. 1,000 curses on your head, she said.
I know.
Look what happened to Farmer Gillis. With only one curse on him.
Are you there? We brought the food.
Meanwhile, Lucy Flaxton refused to allow Gillis and the men of Carliston village to trample over the grounds of Flaxton Hall in their search for Messina and her daughter.
So I will bid you good day, gentlemen. And I would be grateful if you would leave the grounds by the way you came.
But, ma'am, if you
Nathan
just give
will
us
show
the-
you the door.
That way, gentlemen, please. Gilly.
Now, you lads, you go on and I'll come up here.
Yeah, I was wondering about these cattle that you say are dying of thirst. What are you
Well-
going to do about them?
I'll be able to save some of them.
Ah,
Well, by good fortune, Sir Peregrine has offered to buy 20 head off me. Giving me a good price, too.
Sir Peregrine, that's strange.
There's naught strange about it. He wants to help, that's all.
Aye, but he's grazing as many cattle as he can now. He hasn't got enough water on his place to keep any more.
Ah, well, that's his business, not mine. And you can tell your mistress that if she's giving shelter to those evil women, there'll be more misfortunes fall upon the house of Flaxton.
That must be their cottage.
Let's keep away then.
What about the food?
I ain't curses. I have to ask someone about them.
Who, though?
Parson, him is teaching me to read. He'll know what to do.
Good idea. Leave food here.
Pray pardon my intrusion, madam.
So now they have sent a man of God to hound us. Well, do what you will, parson. We've returned to our homes and we cannot make the effort to run anymore. Oh, the young master of Flaxton, eh? So you brought them to us after all.
Madam, through the concern of these boys, I'm come to offer you my help and the protection of my cloth.
What?
They've told me the whole story of your unjust persecution. And I'm shocked, deeply shocked that such superstitious nonsense should persist in this enlightened age.
You don't believe in witches, then?
Well, what do you think, madam?
Oh, begging your pardon, Reverend Sir, but I think you're a fool to concern yourself with this business.
I'm a believer in logic, madam, and in the inherent goodness of all mankind.
Logic, you say?
I believe that there is some rational explanation for all these ridiculous rumors. Young lads, I'll give you a lesson in observation and logic. Now, if one keeps an open mind, one is free to exercise one's powers of deduction. Now, you see here a picture of a brave and gallant soldier. You see also that it is adorned with black crape. Now, this means that the soldier is dead. Your late husband, madam?
Aye. Killed in action some months ago, in the Crimea at the Battle of the Elma. He became a sergeant on his own merits, sir.
A fine-looking man. Now, when a loved one dies, one mourns for their passing, and hence I deduce this to be the reason for the widow's costume of somber mourning. Correct, madam? There's nothing sinister in that. As for the lady's name, Messina, originally of Romany derivation, and I've known many a good and kindly Romany in my day. Now, as to the lady's slight accent, we may assume that she is not English, yet not altogether foreign. I recognize the pleasant lilt of the Welsh.
I was born and raised in Prestati.
You see?
We lived there all our lives until my man volunteered and joined the colours. And for a while his regiment was garrisoned at Harrogate, and from there he went to the Crimea.
And you came to these parts to be close to him.
Aye. We lodged at Harrogate before he went off to battle.
And so, young lads, is explained this hat.
It looks rather strange, sir.
Nonsense. If you lived in Wales, you see many of them, especially in the country areas. It's all part of the Welsh national dress. Am I not right, madam?
Fetch me my costume, Mary. My man had a glorious voice, sir. Oh, he sang like an angel, begging your pardon. Often I accompanied him on the Welsh harp. He was called on to sing at fairs and other functions. I was prettier in those days. He always said I looked well in the costume.
I'm sure you did, ma'am. Logic, just logic. A Welsh hat mistaken for a witch's cap by ignoramuses. Thus does superstition flourish and grow.
But what about the sovereigns and the dried up stream?
The sovereigns, madam?
I came by them honestly.
Oh, of that I'm sure.
They were given to me by a returned captain from my husband's regiment. He told me how David had taken the Queen's colours from a dying ensign. He'd carried them high an inspiration to his faltering battalion. His company fell in behind the flag, and David led them in the storming of a Russian position. The regiment carried the heights. And in gratitude for David's valor, the colonel himself ordered that I should be given a purse of 50 gold sovereigns. The Russian bullets had done for my man. And that's as much as I know.
And you paid the 50 guineas for this cottage?
In cash.
Just so.
There's a crowd of villagers approaching.
Yes, I thought they would be back before long. Your daughter Mary, ma'am?
The good Lord has seen fit to put her upon this earth without benefit of a voice. She has been dumb from birth.
Shame.
Oh, but for all that, she's a good and happy girl. She pays little heed to her affliction, usually.
Now away from that window, boy.
Farmer Gillis is leading them.
Yes, it was to be expected.
Oh, you can leave by the back way. I thank you for your
We
kindness.
shall stay here. Stop that this instant! Do you hear me out there? Stop this disgraceful behavior immediately!
Who's that?
The Reverend Vicar of Flaxton.
Ah, come to exorcise the witches, eh?
Come to see justice done here. Gillis, I will open that door.
No.
And you and 2 or 3 others will approach. The rest of you will disperse. Is that understood? Is that understood?
If you wish it, Reverend. You go up. There's only me, Jack Barlow, and Michael Arnott here now, Reverend.
Gillis, if you were of my parish, I would castigate you from the pulpit every Sunday for a month. You, sir, are a superstitious scoundrel and an oaf.
But you don't know what's been going on.
I know enough. If not for these 2 lads, who knows what further damage you and your kind would have wrought upon these 2 poor women.
But these
Be
women...
silent! You will listen to me and we will take heed of every word that I say. And you will learn how rumour, suspicion, and ignorance... All is now explained satisfactorily, I hope.
No, not quite, Reverend. What about when Constable came here at night and found only 2 black cats?
Huh. Logic, Gillis, logic. What are these?
Mushrooms?
Indeed, it would seem that these 2 women are somewhat partial to mushrooms, as indeed I am myself. The man of the land, Gillis, you should know that the best time to collect mushrooms is in the dark.
But I'm still not satisfied about them cats.
Pets, Gillis. They've not yet settled in comfortably. Evidently, they are devoted to their mistress, and like a pet animal, they tend to follow her about. Unless she go on to some other dwelling, no doubt.
And the stream, Reverend? What about dried up stream? You have a ready answer for that?
Yes, Gillis, I am.
Nathan!
By your leave, Reverend. The stream was dammed, and its natural flow diverted just where it enters Sir Peregrine's property. I followed it to that point, and I managed to break down the structure.
Damned?
Aye. Apparently, he wanted to graze more cattle, but he hadn't got enough water on his land, so he altered the course of the stream. I should get a warrant out to prevent him doing it again. So you see, the drying up of that stream had nothing whatever to do with these ladies.
How splendid, Nathan.
How logical, young Jonathan. Well, Gillis?
Madam, there's little I can do or say to atone for the wrongs you've suffered at our hands. But from now on, you'll live in peace. I'll give you my word, and if anybody should do you any harm, well, they'll have Arthur Gillis to contend with.
I
And if you have them, ma'am, I'll buy half a dozen of your excellent hazel brooms. They're always useful to have about the place.
So, for Messina and her daughter, the story ends happily. But what of Flaxton Hall and the secrets and mysteries hidden behind its walls? For Archie, Jonathan, and his mother, there is, as yet, no happy ending.